If you got stuck watching a backup quarterback yesterday, you weren't alone, and you certainly weren't warned, or can't say you weren't warned, because we know that quarterbacks go down all the time. And then you add in this extra regular season game, and that means more backup quarterbacks. Tyler Huntley, come on down, did an admirable job filling in for Lamar Jackson. Ravens still lost to the Browns. Kyle Allen in Washington almost led a comeback, came up short against Dallas. The Giants, Mike Glennon. The Panthers, Cam Newton. The Texans, Davis Mills. All lose. Can't wait to Week 18 on January 9th. Once teams are out of the playoff picture, going to be even quicker to pull the starter. And all of this is a not-so-subtle reminder of why teams might want to invest in a quality backup quarterback. It's hard enough to win with your starter. Hard enough to keep him healthy. Putting in the backup quarterback is a challenge very few teams are able to overcome. When you start to look at some of the surprises yesterday, or were they surprises yesterday, don't look now, but the Chiefs actually have a formidable defense. Dallas, a formidable defense. Packers look great. Jacksonville, a mess. The Ravens, in trouble. Buccaneers, still good. And then if you believe in moral victories, you got one if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. Now, when you start to think of moral victories is usually when your team is not very good. When you're supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, that's not a moral victory. Oh, they came back. They showed guts. They played hard. Yeah, they're supposed to be really good. You know, the Lions get moral victories, or Jacksonville gets a moral victory. Buffalo doesn't get a moral victory. That doesn't get you into the playoffs. But watching yesterday, Tampa Bay looked awesome in the first half. Buffalo did come back, certainly made it interesting going into overtime. And then Tom Brady with the game-winning touchdown, and he had this to say.
Yeah, I was trying to think. Has that ever happened before? That's right. That was in Miami too. So yeah, that was it was pretty, but it was very cool. It was very cool. I'd much rather not have it come down to that, but in the end, they all count the same, you know. And we got to learn from it, and we got to move on. And obviously, we're playing for a division championship next week, which is pretty exciting for all of us.
Yeah, game-winning touchdown pass is second overtime touchdown pass. Here's Josh Allen, the Bills quarterback.
Every game's a different situation. Sometimes you practice one thing and they show something completely different. But yeah, it's something obviously we want to work on. We want to be ready to go right off the rip and have fast starts. Again, yeah, it just wasn't in our favor tonight.
Buffalo's 7-6. You know, when you start to think about, okay, are they a Super Bowl team? I didn't think so to start the year because I thought they were too self-reliant on Josh Allen. The defense is a defense that is fast but can be manhandled. And they've been overpowered by teams. The last couple of weeks, we've seen that. New England did it. Tampa did that. Titans. And they've lost to the quality teams here. Here's their head coach, Sean McDermott.
Look, I know we came up short, right? Incredible amount of heart and guts that they show this team, Josh included, right? But all of them. Again, we came up short. And they made one more play than we did, but I love how the team fought.
Yeah, they're supposed to fight. You get paid to fight. You're a playoff team. Or are you? 5 teams in the AFC are 7-6. 5 teams in the NFC are 6-7. 24 of the 32 teams in the NFL have at least 6 wins, and they're still in the playoff race. This is parity. This is what the NFL loves because every fan base still has hope. McLevin, what do you have?
Okay, let's start in the NFC. Who do you got? The Bucks or the field?
Well, I'm taking the Packers.
Well, okay. No, it's more for the audience. You think that they would take the Bucks or the field now after yesterday's game?
You know, it still comes down to you don't bet against Belichick and you don't bet against Brady. You know, so I would say the audience, well, no, they may look at this and go, Green Bay and Dallas look like they're actually legitimate. I don't know if Arizona is. You got a big game coming up tonight with the Rams at the Cardinals, but it just feels like this is about home field advantage because you didn't have the crowds last year. You didn't have a true home field advantage. Now, Green Bay lost to Tampa in Green Bay. It was unseasonably warm and you had no ambiance there. Is it different this year? I believe so. But that one team in the NFC, one team in the AFC, getting home field advantage is going to be imperative. You start to handicap, what's going to happen the rest of the year. You're looking at Green Bay. They're at Baltimore. You don't know if you're going to face Lamar Jackson. You host Cleveland. You host Minnesota. Then you're at Detroit. Here's the only thing I would be concerned about. If I'm a Packer fan, at what point do you rest Aaron Rodgers to get him ready for the playoffs because of that toe situation? Now you bring in Jordan Love. When do you bring in Jordan Love? Because if you're Aaron Rodgers, we don't know if this is his last year in Green Bay, but this might be his best chance to win a Super Bowl. Now what do? How important is home field for you? And is that enough to jeopardize Aaron Rodgers and that toe? At Baltimore, host Cleveland, host Minnesota. Maybe there's a chance that you'll have things wrapped up that the game at Detroit, Jordan Love could play. But that would be something I'd keep an eye on. Am I going to play Aaron Rodgers? As Rodgers said prior to last night's game, hey, if I get hurt or gets banged up more, then surgery is in play. And I think that's where you're going to run the risk here of what the Packers do these last 4 games. Yeah, McLovin.
I noticed last night they are a different running team now with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
That wasn't really there against the Bucs last year, was it?
No, and when you see that, when you take away a team's heart, when you run the ball, they know you're going to run the ball, and it's debilitating. It's defeating in more ways than one. And when you have that ability to be able to do that, that's why when we have all these crazy passing numbers, these teams that can run the football and let you know they're going to run the football. Leonard Fournette running the football. I mean, that's a valuable weapon for Tom Brady to have. And Derrick Henry's probably going to be back for the postseason with the Titans. That's just really important for these teams, having a balanced offense. And Green Bay, they're far more dangerous when you have those running backs running well, and it just makes Aaron Rodgers that much greater. And he looked, he was Aaron Rodgers last night. It always helps playing the Bears.
Hey.
It does. Like, I had a weird feeling to start that game that I thought, the Bears may win this game. And then they jump out, and I go, all right. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, all right. Aaron Rodgers still owns the Chicago Bears. Yes, Paulie.
As a Bears fan, the only thing worse than being down to the Packers at halftime is being up on the Packers at halftime, because it's false hope going into the second half. I should have gone to bed at halftime and just pretended the second half didn't happen.
Yeah. Now, it'd be great if Aaron Rodgers would show up at the NFL owners' meetings representing the Chicago Bears. Like if he just went in there and go, what are you doing here? I own the Bears. Oh, well, no. The McCaskies own the Bears. No. I am a co-owner of the Chicago Bears. Yes, McLovin.
There's a pretty high tax rate in Illinois. I don't know. I don't know if he has to pay for it. But Paulie has a typical, very cynical, dark poll question on the Packers. Oh. I will let him share.
Now, I do have the Super Bowl updated odds here. Buccaneers are the favorites. Then the Packers, the Cardinals. No, this can't be right.
No, it's the Chiefs are second at plus 550. Then the Packers are plus 650. So it goes Bucks, Chiefs, Packers.
Why don't they go in order that way instead of across and then across? What are you doing, Vegas? So Buccaneers, then the Chiefs, then the Packers, then the Patriots, Cardinals, Rams, Bills, Cowboys. After that, you got Titans and the Chargers, Colts and the Ravens. All right. So Buccaneers, Chiefs, then Packers, Patriots. All right.
Patriots?
Yeah. I don't know if I would have the Patriots up that high. But it just feels like, this is about the NFC. If you got the Buccaneers, the Packers, you have the Rams, you have the Cardinals, you have the Cowboys. So there are a lot of good teams in the NFC. In the AFC, not as much. You got the Chiefs and you got the Patriots. You can throw in Buffalo, but I don't have any confidence in Buffalo. The Chargers, I don't have confidence. That's a big win, though. To go and beat Cincinnati, that was. And Justin Herbert, he had a throw yesterday that, for those of you who never saw John Elway play, he had a throw that would be John Elway-esque. He had a throw yesterday against the Bengals that I'm going to say Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes are the only two quarterbacks, the other quarterbacks in the NFL who could make that throw. It was spectacular. And Justin Herbert is putting up these crazy numbers. And, he's thrown for 30 touchdowns now in his first 2 seasons. That's never happened with a quarterback. And he's, 23 years of age. 3 touchdowns yesterday. He's the second youngest player in NFL history to reach 60 career touchdown passes. The only person who was younger, was Dan Marino. And 30 touchdown passes on the season. First player in history to go back-to-back with that honor. Yeah,
stat
sure.
Of the day,
okay.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that
what?
Stat of the day.
Defensive Player of the Year. The odds are out. Myles Garrett is the favorite, along with T.J. Watt, co-favorites. Then it's Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. Matthew Judon is in there. Aaron Donald is in there. Man, Micah Parsons is putting up some crazy numbers. Trayvon Diggs was wonderful. When you get 10 interceptions, but then they don't throw your way. Like, that's what you do to a defensive back. You're like, we're going to Revis you. We're not throwing your direction. T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, they can move wherever they want to. You got to find them sometimes. But Micah Parsons, Paulie went back and looked at the draft profile, all the reports on Micah Parsons, and a lot of people thought that, well, Dallas doesn't need a linebacker. Dallas wanted to draft a defensive back. And I thought it might have been Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn. Those were the two. I think they were going to draft one of those two. Patrick Surtain, I was told, if he's there, then Dallas has taken him. And if not, then Dallas was going to take Micah Parsons. And I was told Micah Parsons is the best defensive athlete in the draft. And, keep in mind that, at that pick, he's a top 5 pick. But there were concerns about him off the field, character issues. But as far as athleticism, this is where you make mistakes when you profile somebody and you say, all right, he's a linebacker. He is Junior Seau. He is Troy Polamalu. You could even say Clay Matthews. You just put them on the field, they make plays. We get caught up in this, well, he's a linebacker. No, he's not. He's a football player. Brian Urlacher, he's just a football player. But, when you're going to say, no, you're defining who he is, that's where you make the mistake. Especially with defensive players now. You just put them on the field. They make plays. Troy Polamalu, what was he? He's a football player. Junior Seau, he's just a football player. Oh, no, is he a linebacker? Is he No, he's whatever you want him to be. And that's what Micah Parsons is. Just put him on the field. He makes plays.